MLB released their best content drop so far at MLB The Show 24. And in this video, we are going to break down all of the new Team Affinity Chapter 2 for Season 2, which is all about the All-Star Week. We've got a massive update to how you complete Team Affinity, a huge selection of new sets and cards that we can earn, as well as content that will drop all the way throughout the All-Star Week that we can add to our team. Let's break it all down. Let's start first with the new Team Affinity drop that has a massive update to how we are able to complete this, making it far easier to complete each of the 6 divisions. Now, as you can see, it remains the same with 200,000 Team Affinity points required to get the final Chapter 2 boss. And again, it starts at 60,000, which is where you can earn your first boss for each division. However, what they've done is removed moments and added in new All-Star missions that take very little time to complete. And by completing all 5 of these missions, it will net you a total of 60,000 Team Affinity points, getting you that first Team Affinity boss. And as you can see, these are extremely easy to complete, whether you're an offline or online mode player. For the AL East, you've got to tally 4 strikeouts with Season 2 eligible Orioles players. This can be core or Season 2, not Season 1 wildcards. You've got to get 1 strikeout with a Red Sox player, 4 total bases with a Yankee, 1 total base with a Tampa Bay Ray, and 4 total bases with the Toronto Blue Jays. Now again, all of that will get you your first Team Affinity boss, all now at 95 overall. However, there are more general missions that are going to make it far easier for you as well. As you can see, there are individual missions that are, again, very easy to complete, but you've got to do them with the Team Affinity Bosses Live Series card, which I actually really like because it promotes collecting the Live Series cards. And even if you don't have some of these Live Series cards, it's not like you're getting a 20,000 Team Affinity bonus. Each one of these is going to net you an additional 5,000 Team Affinity points, so 25,000 in total. And while you're working towards those 2024 All-Star missions, you can simply just use the Live Series cards of the Team Affinity bosses, and now you're getting essentially 85,000 Team Affinity points by just completing these 10 very easy missions. As you can see in the AL East, you need 5 strikeouts with Live Series Corbin Burns in any mode, 5 strikeouts with Tanner Houck, my boy, 3 total hits with Juan Soto, another 3 hits with Isaac Paredes, and 3 hits with Vladdy Guerrero, and that will complete all of those missions, as well as completing the other All-Star missions. So again, 85,000 Team Affinity points can be earned in essentially 1 game. Now, there are extreme moments that you can complete, but unless you are a Hall of Fame player or someone that plays regularly on Legend, I honestly don't think these are worth the time for any of the casual player base, as it's only going to net you a total of 10,000 Team Affinity points. And for example, on Hall of Fame, you've got to get 2 home runs with Juan Soto. So again, unless you're a Legend player or someone that plays on Hall of Fame regularly, I would probably just avoid these. Now, I want to go over the fastest ways to complete Team Affinity, and a big chunk that you can earn is by completing the new Conquest map. Now, there is a Conquest map for the National League and American League, and it will have you completing 10 different strongholds for each league. And for completing that, you will get yourself 30,000 Team Affinity points for each of that league's division. So once you finish the American League Conquest map, you're going to get the AL East, AL Central, and AL West, an additional 30,000 Team Affinity points. Now, before we get into the individual cards and the strategy that I'd recommend to complete Team Affinity the fastest, let's take a look at the new special collections for the All-Star Week, and this will be updated all throughout All-Star Week. But at launch of this event, you've got 30 cards that you can earn, and they will work towards various rewards. The biggest one, however, is that when you collect your first 6 All-Star Game cards, you will get a wild card slot. It was mentioned when Season 2 dropped that there would be a way to get that 4th and final wild card spot. This is how you're going to do it, and you can earn it very quickly. So again, 6 total cards. I'll cash mine in. I've got 9. As you can see, I just earned a wild card slot. Now, on top of that, when you complete 25, you will get this 99 Emmanuel Clase with the animated background, which is a great touch. And just by taking a look at him, 125 hits per 9, 87 K per 9, and 120 walks per 9 as well, and 125 pitch and clutch. You've got a fantastic Emmanuel Clase. He's got that great four-seam fastball and cutter, along with Outlier 1. A big one is at 30, so when you complete all of the Team Affinity card releases, you will get this 99 Chris Sale with 102 hits per 9, 95 K per 9, and 101 walks per 9. Just an absolutely nasty card. It's got that sinker, circle change slider, and fastball, all with unbelievable control control, and a ton of break. So this is going to be a filthy card to go up against for the remainder of Season 2 and probably for the rest of the game. Now, collecting 40 cards, and again, these will include the Future Skill Challenge cards, the 24 draft cards, the 24 Home Run Derby, and then the 24 All-Star player items. These will all unlock as All-Star Week is released. 40 will get you the 99 Fernando Tatis, who's got great contact, a little bit lacking against power versus lefties, but Tatis always has an unbelievable swing. He's also got great speed and good fielding as well. Can play pretty much any position. 55 is a big one. We are going to get a 99 Paul Skeens, who's got great hits and Ks per 9, 105 walks per 9, 125 pitching clutch, and not only outlier 1, but outlier 2. So he's going to have that fastball up above 100, and his splitter is going to be even quicker. On top of that, he's got the slider, slurve, and Vulcan change. So again, a card that's probably going to be around and even in some wild card slots going into Season 3. 65 will net you the 99 Shohei Ohtani, who is essentially a 100 hitter across the board with great speed up at 90 overall. This is a designated hitter card. You cannot use him as a pitcher, and he can play anywhere in the outfield as well. And finally, after collecting 80 All-Star Week cards, you will get a 99 Aaron Judge, who is borderline perfect when it comes to a hitter card. Obviously, on higher difficulties, strike zone is just so large, but at 125 power from both sides of the plate and various captain boosts that can help his contact rating, he's essentially a perfect card. He's also got a really good arm and fielding if you are going to play him in the outfield. And again, they have announced that they will add cards, I believe, to this set, so stay tuned for that. Now, obviously, the thing that you want to rush out and finish as quick as possible, especially if you're an online player, is those 6 cards to unlock that extra wildcard slot. So when it comes to completing Team Affinity, I'm going to walk you through the way that I would recommend completing this as fast as possible. Obviously, you could simply load into a play versus CPU game and then literally just use an entire lineup of live series Team Affinity cards, as well as multiple pitchers in your bullpen, and once you've hit the hits and strikeouts for those players, you can just switch them out, and that way you are working towards getting all of these completed, because again, the 2024 All-Star missions for each of the divisions will get you your first boss, meaning that if you do this for all divisions right off the rip in one play CPU game, you can get those 6 Team Affinity cards that will get you that wildcard slot. And again, while playing versus CPU is probably going to be the fastest, I would recommend completing the Conquest maps just because of the other various rewards that you're going to get throughout it. You're going to get more packs as well as the hidden rewards that are all throughout the map, and you can just play on Veteran. I wouldn't recommend Rookie just because they rarely hit the strike zone and it really messes with your timing, especially if you're an online player. So basically what I did was I completed the American League Conquest map, just playing against every stronghold on Veteran, doing the same now with the National League. So here is what I would do. We'll start fresh with the National League East. This is how I would recommend you do the Team Affinity divisions in the most effective way possible. If you look at those All-Star missions, you need a strikeout with any Braves player, a strikeout with any Marlin, 4 total bases with a Met, 2 strikeouts with a Philly, and 1 total base with a National player. So what you want to do is first stack your lineup with those live series cards. So for the National League East, you want to make sure that you put the CJ Abrams live series card as well as Pete Alonso. If you do not have any of these live series cards, I'd always recommend trying to complete the live series collection if you are going to play the game for a majority of the time. So if you have a bunch of stubs you're just saving, you could go and buy these live series cards. Obviously, some of them are going to be very expensive, into the high 90s. You know, cards like Juan Soto, for example. So I wouldn't do that. But if you have them, put them in your lineup. So as you can see, I've got Ronaldo Lopez, Zach Wheeler, and the 77 Tanner Scott all in the lineup. But let's get some more value out of it. So while you are grinding for Team Affinity, you want to make sure that you are stacking as many things on top of each other as possible. So we've got the live series cards in there to complete the general missions, as well as those 2024 All-Star missions. But you've got parallel XP missions that will, 1, give you 15,000 Team Affinity points for getting 2,024 parallel XP with any Season 2 eligible NL East player. But on top of that, for every 500 parallel XP that you get with the Chapter 1 Team Affinity bosses, you can stack them even more. So for example, if you've completed Chapter 1's Team Affinity, you want to put these guys in your lineup, as many as you can, obviously. Tanner Scott's already in there for the live series. So as you can see now, I've got Francisco Alvarez, JP Crawford, Eddie Rosario, and and Victor Robles in the lineup. Again, further stacking because you get that bonus for getting parallel XP with the Chapter 1 Team Affinity boss. Now, we still have some cards that are in the lineup that aren't going to work towards anything, so let's fix that. Since we're starting clean here, and because the NL East only has 2 hitters to select from their All-Star Team Affinity selection, you want to fill the rest of your lineup with Mets and Nationals just to ensure that in one game, you get those completed. So you can go with Curtis Granderson, and we'll use this All-Star Tim Raines card that I had just in my collection. And then finally, we'll throw Adam Dunn in the DH spot. Now we've got an entire lineup that is going to work towards Team Affinity in the most efficient way possible. When it comes to your lineup, you want to make sure that you stack your live series cards first to get those missions completed. So Pete Alonso 1, CJ Abrams 2, followed by the Team Affinity Chapter 1 bosses, so Robles, Crawford, Eddie Rosario, and Francisco Alvarez, and then finally just rounding out with the other cards in your lineup for those 2 teams. Now, by playing Conquest and tacking all the strongholds on Veteran, you can just leave your pitcher in there for all 3 innings, regardless if he runs out of energy. It's gonna be very easy. Get all the strikeouts that you need, and then if you finish early, meaning that you get 5 strikeouts in less than 2 innings, switch out the live series Tanner Scott and go on to Zach Wheeler. That way that you're not wasting any of those outs, that you can just try and get the strikeouts done with each of these players. So let's hop into a game and see how much we can complete in one Conquest game. So we're going to use Tanner Scott. He's obviously the worst one of the bunch. Try and get him completed in the first game. The lineup is all set, so let's get after it. So again, because you're playing on Veteran, this is going to be pretty simple, but in my first 2 at-bats, I just nuke pitches with CJ Abrams and Pete Alonso, which means that those objectives and missions are now complete. I then follow that up by just striking out as many as I can with Tanner Scott and not really worrying about my performance at all, just completing the games. And I didn't even have a fantastic performance. I was just kind of rushing through the game, and I was still able to get 48,000 Team Affinity points in one single Conquest game, which is kind of hammers home how easy it is now with the changes to Team Affinity. Now, once you've completed a sufficient amount of Team Affinity, that's when I would recommend you hop into events. So this event will run until July 21st, and it's going to allow you to use a ton of cards, obviously any that come out during the All-Star Week, so the Futures card, as well as the Home Run Derby, all of that. It also includes Captain and All-Star cards that you also have in your collection, and the win rewards will get you at 10 wins, the 95 Cole Reagans, who's got great hit per 9 and K per 9, as well as a good pitch mix with a fastball, cutter, slider, circle change, and knuckle curve. And then at 15 wins, it'll get you the 96 Riley Green. The only disappointing thing here is that he's only got 78 contact with lefties, but he's got great clutch, so with runners in scoring position, that contact's going to go all the way up to 118. In all honesty, a little bit of a disappointing card for the event reward, but still, this is 2 more additional All-Star cards that will work towards those set. Now, you can also do the Team Affinity Chapter 2 Showdown, which can be done pretty quickly, having you face off against Tariq Skubal as the final boss. That will net you 4 total if you complete all of the steps to get there and don't just skip it. So that'll be 4 Team Affinity vouchers. And 4 vouchers is about 14,000 Team Affinity points. Honestly, this is all personal preference, but the Conquest method is probably the best for attacking everything, simply because you get that big 30,000 Team Affinity bonus when you complete it for the entire league. But also pay attention. If you are grinding out a division and you get to 170,000 Team Affinity points and you have not completed the Conquest yet, but you are working towards it, make sure you switch out and start attacking a new division, because again, you are going to get that 30,000 boost for the entire league. You don't want to waste time by just loading up on one division and then completing missions that you don't really need to finish. Now, when it comes to which bosses you might want to focus on first, again, you can get this done so quickly that I don't really think it matters. You can work towards everything, but obviously, the Ellie De La Cruz is always going to be a top option as a switch hitter. He's got great contact and power for this stage of the game, as well as 99 speed, can play pretty much anywhere on the infield, so this would be one that I would target early. Brian Reynolds from the same division also offers you a great hitter that is a switch hitter that can play anywhere in the outfield. If you are looking for a catcher, Salvador Perez is always a great card. His swing is very good in game. He's also got 125 clutch and just great hitting stats regardless. If you are running the Rafael Devers boost as well, he also gets gets that bonus. Now, obviously, the main goal is to work towards these sets, with the wildcard one being the most important early on, followed by Chris Sale, in my opinion, who is just going to be absolutely devastating to go up against for quite some time. I do want to mention, once you are done the Conquest maps, that is when I would recommend you go into Team Affinity Season 2, as you can work towards vouchers there. Again, this is going to be for offline players. When it comes to online and you haven't finished Team Affinity yet, I would just recommend sticking to events until that is completed. So let me know what you think of this content drop in MLB The Show 24. In my opinion, I think the All-Star drop has been almost perfect. They're going to have to keep it up, obviously, with College Football 25 dropping very soon. Thank you guys again for watching. I'll see you next time. Have a good one.